got some leaflets outside. One of the many things that I'm involved in is Cancer Research UK and cancer awareness. Not to put it down or anything, but one of the taboos, and I don't mind saying it, and if any men want to walk out, they can. Anyone needs to go for a smear test when you are advised to. Whether you're young, whether you're old, whether you think that you don't need one, and the men in their lives need to do that too for their women. And also, for anyone that's on the trans spectrum of any kind. If you have got the pieces, you need to get them checked. There was going to be a video. I found a charity called the Eve Appeal. They're the only charity that actually deal with gynaecological cancers. Do you want to have a guess how many gynaecological cancers there are?
5.
5! I'm not talking breast, I'm talking actual gynaecological. There's things like cards, and there's things about the actual different places. So, we know about cervical cancer. The test that you go for is not to detect cancer. The test that you go for is trying to find those cells that could go a bit rogue. Which is the reason why you need to keep going for your tests. Now, in my lifetime, I've had a lot of tests down there for other reasons. So when I walk in and they say, we're going to do a scan, I automatically strip off. And then they say, oh no, it's okay, we can do this round your belly. And I'm like, okay, I'm used to it going the other way, and we'll just pull them back up again. That's happened to me 3 times. So yeah, it's to find out what those cells are actually doing. Now I've got 2 stories, and everyone's kind of got a story. One of them, 20 years ago, was my sister. She had her children young, she had them when she was in her 20s. She got up to her 30s and thought something is wrong, and she was in between her having her smear test. She fought and fought and fought with the doctor. They didn't want to do it. You're not in your time frame. But she said, I know something's wrong. In the end, they did do a smear test. They found cancerous cells. So they didn't find abnormal cells, they found cancerous cells. You're then in on that emergency waiting list in NHS. Because her husband has actually got like medical insurance through work, they did it privately. And they ended up going to the same consultant as they would have done for the NHS. He said at the appointment after her hysterectomy, so there was no treatment, she was actually found to have a tumour, not a HPV virus, an actual tumour, that she had to have a hysterectomy straight away. And on her follow-up appointment, which is now 3-4 months later, the consultant said to her, if you'd have waited for your NHS appointment, you would not be here today. Now, the other story that I've got is something quite new now. My cousin's like a little girl. She's in her 30s. Didn't want to go for a smear test. Only went for a smear test because of Jade Goody. They found precancerous cells. She'd already had 1 child, which is why she thought, they've all been down there before. They would have found something if I've got cancer. They said, no, we need to do this treatment. 2 lots of treatment still wasn't having that much of an effect. They told her, you need to have another child now if you're having another child, else you won't have children again, we need to do a hysterectomy. So for 2 youngish people that says, no, it's fine, I don't need it, or for someone that then says, no, there's a problem, there's 2 different stories. Now everyone's kind of got cervical cancer kind of stories. You know about ovarian cancer? What are the main symptoms for ovarian cancer? General. General puffiness, bloatiness, bit of pain, sometimes after sex, sometimes during your periods. It's only really when you actually kind of get a cyst that bursts, which is in my case how polycystic ovaries. So when my cysts burst, you actually get a feeling of something. Unfortunately, that is one of the ones that is not an easy thing to. You tick these 3 things out of 5 and you're possibly got cancer, and then we'll check it further. Now, other things that are down there. So we've got ovarian, so you've then got womb cancer. Very similar thing. May not pick it up straight away. There'll be something to do with your periods not turning up, or your periods might be heavy, fibroids, all that kind of thing coming with the womb cancer. The 2 that people don't really like talking about. What else is down there? Vaginal cancer. That's something that's then separate. See, I don't care saying these words. I've got a story to tell you in a minute. Vaginal cancer. That's a separate thing itself. It's a separate lot of cells that are in your vagina, and you can have different things going on there. It might be connected, or it might be something completely different. Now, the men might not get this one. Do you want to guess what the other one is? Your vulva. That, again, is a separate entity of itself. It's got its own separate cells. So that would be something else different, or the cancers might carry on to other parts of the body that's then all around you. So that's why the Eve appeal, they've got a video that explains how things kind of like work. Now, everyone kind of knows about breast cancer. You're looking for a lump, you're looking for this, that and the other. Breast cancer has actually come on with survival rates more than any other cancer at the moment, because there's a screening programme. There's people knowing what you're looking out for. There's people of people and your friends and your relatives that will push you. I found a lump, I found a dimple, I found that the skin's itchy, I found all these sort of things, and you'll do that. I particularly today wanted to say about all of the rest of the amazing things that makes you a woman, whether it's working or not, in some cases. And again, I'll just end with cervical cancer. I know it's very difficult to go and have a smear test. You can have people that can go with you, you can have a chaperone. It's not the nicest thing, but it's over within seconds. I'll do Paul Rogers now. And most other things are over within seconds down there. Sorry, I had one of the guys of our Cancer Research UK, our relay team, sadly passed away recently, and he would normally be doing all these cancer kind of talks. So we all pick up bits and pieces from him, but that would be one of the things that he would come out and say. And I'll put my own story for going to have a smear test. Remember when, just recently, they tried to make things better, and they went from that metal duck, the speculum thing, and they went to plastic because it was cleaner and it was warmer. Guess who broke 2? The poor doctor didn't know what to do. He called in the nurse and she broke the second one. So I don't know whether they've changed them since my last one, but I just thought I'd leave you with that. And also, another thing to do with, this wasn't necessarily a smear test, but it was to do with going for a checkup down there for people that were going through fertility treatment. Be careful which shampoo and body wash and things that you use. One of my friends was going for either the egg retrieval or putting back in, and she had a little wash down there really quickly and used the Barbie glitter one that her children had. So she's laying there, and it was all beautiful. And the doctor said, "You made an effort today, love."
But so today I was actually supposed to be here and have a stall outside. I was supposed to be doing what I do. My business is called Khem Clarke. I make sauces and spices and things like that. And I spoke to Dee and I said to her, I can't do it. I'm not in the right frame of mind. I'm not in the right place. I can't be here and I cannot do that today. So we had a good conversation. We were speaking about things and what's going on in life. And she said, why don't you come and speak? Why don't you come and just talk instead? So I've never done this before and I was like, don't know about that. But here I am. So today I'm just going to give you a bit of my story and let you know who I am and how I got to where I am now. So I'm 36 years old. I'm a mum to 5. I have 5 boys. I had a really good childhood when I was younger. As I started getting into my teenage years, there was a lot of tension between myself and my dad. There was a lot of expectations to behave a certain way, do things a certain, in his manner, and always live up to that expectation all the time. It was a lot to live up to. And as I got older, the relationship got tougher, and we had a lot of contention between us. So when I turned 18, I met the father of my children. When I met him, I thought, wow, this man's older than me. This is a way out of home. Like, this is a new beginning. Things are going to be a lot easier for me. Like, I can actually start living life and being myself, not having to live up to that expectation all the time. So I thought it was going to be great. Unfortunately, it wasn't. I got pregnant with my first son when I was 19. And when I was at my 20-week scan, I was told that he had a congenital heart defect. So they said to me, as soon as your child's born, he's going to have surgery, like instantly. We don't know if he's going to make it out of that surgery, if you're ever going to be able to hold your baby. Like, I'm 19 years old, this is my first child, and I was just like, okay, that's the next thing that I'm having to deal with. So I've gone through all that. He, thank God, is still here with us. He's 16 now. He's gone through a lot, he made it through a lot, but the relationship with his dad progressed. There is a 9-year difference between myself and their dad. So it became abusive, it started to get abusive, physical abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, all of it. I was in that relationship for 13 years. It took me 13 years to actually pick up the courage and be like, what, I'm not doing this no more. And I had all my children are with that man. And I know people are like, oh, why would you keep getting pregnant for someone that treats you that way? And it's like, it's deeper than that. I already knew there was that expectation at home. So if I go back home and say, actually, no, I messed up, then I'm thinking, how are they going to treat me? How are they going to look at me like, but I failed? And then you have that stigma as a black woman, you have to be strong, doesn't matter what comes your way, put up with it, deal with it, get on. And it was that kind of thing that was going on in my head, like, I can't go back, I can't say that I failed, I have to keep going, I have to make this work, this is my family now. I have to do what I've got to do, and that was like a constant day-to-day thing, and it was horrible. And it wasn't until I started realising, actually, you're starting to behave like this man that you don't like. You don't like the way he behaves around you, you don't like how he treats you, and you're starting to mimic the things that he does. I'd find myself saying to my children, like, no, don't do that. Or, be quiet, we can't do this, we can't do that. Just to kind of think, like, if I stop them from doing it first, then he's not going to start, he's not going to have a go, he's not going to kick off. And then I realised, like, actually, I'm just destroying my relationship with my kids. So 6 years ago, today, I made the decision to say, like, you need to leave and never come back.
Wow.
And I did that. During that period of the relationship and such, my relationship with my dad was, like, very staggered. I always lived with him, always grew up with him, but I knew he didn't like this man. I knew why he didn't like him, but I just couldn't deal with having to go back and say, actually, no, he was right. I couldn't do it. And then my dad died. So my dad died 2016. And then I went through the period of having guilt and regret, the fact that I never got through things. I never dealt with my relationship with him, and I allowed this person to be in our lives all this time. And there was this constant up and down of like a build-up of like disappointment of myself. Like, how did you allow to bring 5 children into life with this man? How did you allow things with your dad to get that bad? You know, how did you allow yourself to put up with this rubbish all this time? And with all the mental abuse, I really didn't like myself. I didn't think I was beautiful, I didn't think I was pretty, I didn't think anything of me, you know. I got that thing in my head of like, I'm going to leave and I'm never ever going to meet anyone else. I'm never ever going to be able to step out and do things that I always wanted to do when I was younger. And I went like that for a while, and then I got back into work, started getting back into the flow of things, and a few years down the line, I met Dee in the hub. And I spoke to her, and we were speaking about getting on things like what things you're into and stuff, and I said to her, poetry. I've always written poetry since I was a child. It's always been one of the things that have kind of helped me get through situations. Whenever I feel something, I always release it in my poetry. And she was saying to me, you know what, when you've done this, when you've got a book and when you've got those things, come back to me. Now, I think I met Dee maybe in April of 2021. I published my book, I think, in July of 2021. So I think if there's anything for anybody to take away from what I have to say is that it's okay to be a single mum to children young. It's okay to go through hard things. It doesn't matter what comes your way. It's not about what comes to you, it's about how you deal with it and how you move on. It's okay to have days when you can't get out of bed. Now, I have days where I'm saying to my eldest, like, can you go and do dinner? Because I just can't today. I can't deal with it. And I think there's so much stigma around like always being the perfect woman, always being a superwoman, always living up to everything that everybody expects of you all the time, and it is tiring, it's exhausting. You can't do it. You cannot please everyone, and I've spent my life trying to please everybody around me except for myself. And it's taken me forever to realise like actually you need to please yourself, you need to do things for you. And you know, so that's where I am now. I'm in uni now, I'm studying psychology and counselling. I want to be able to give back to people. Yeah, I want to be here for anybody that needs me, especially our younger generation. Like, and I've got a thing for the boys. I know this is a women's thing, but I just feel like our men are just not heard, and they get there from childhood. You know, so I really want to be there for that. But so I've got my book with me today. I've only got 4 copies, but they're available on Amazon. It's called Sounds of the Soul, Poetry of Life. So it's £6.99 for an ebook and £7.99 for paperback. But today, those 4 copies are £5. You can have them signed if you like. So come and see me if you'd like one. There is a poem that I'd like to end with quickly, because I know time's of the essence. I watched a Viola Davis interview, and she was saying about all the things that she's gone through. And there was one thing that she said that really stuck with me, and she said, I came in worthy, and the words just really stuck with me. So this is a poem I wrote from them words. I came in worthy. Every time you look at my skin, desire my lips and my hips, while you despise my tongue, my heart, my mind, you should know I came in worthy. Each time you demote my ability, invoke despair on my serenity, compare my dark to your light, you should know I came in worthy. For every moment you close the doors, tell the world I'm not what they're looking for. Portray me as loud and poor, disposable and nothing more. You should know I came in worthy. For each step you push me back, I fight harder to climb 10 more. For every moment you try to silence me, I speak louder for you to hear my roar. Every time you turn your back, I will find another route to see your face, because this spot is just as much my place. I earned it, I deserve it, I own it, I control it. Evolve it, revolve it, spin it, flip it, turn it, make it mine, make it shine, unstoppable. Unfathomable to some how I overcome. It's simple, I came in worthy.
Yeah. So, HMH Florence, what does your card say?
You're fearless.
Oh. Okay, so what does that mean to you?
Ah, you didn't give me a chance to think.
Well, we don't want you thinking, because otherwise you're not going to get off the mic.
Well, I'm not fearless of dying. That's what comes to my mind when I go hold of this. Because all of us have to die one day. We don't know when, we don't know where. But that's all we have to prepare ourselves for now. The way life is. And it's what's happening in the world today. It's fearless. Because we don't know what anyone going through. Only they can tell what's going on, especially if you're in the midst of it. And we here, and that's happening in the Far East. So we just have to be fearless for them. Because all they need, that is now. You know, we are sorry for them, but then we can't do anything about it. You know, just keep on praying that they'll be able to get through this, because we can't imagine how they're feeling. But life throws things at us, and we have to be fearless, because if we're not, we give up. And we shouldn't give up. Fight the good fight with all our might.
You know I love this woman, and you know she ain't going to get off the mic unless I stop her. So please give it up for HRH Florence.